marshal lights flashing so that drivers ahead know that they are stationary, but we are almost ready for the off now, because I can see the red lights are on and they go out, and it's Adam Walker from pole position that makes a pretty good start. Bit of jostling and a few changes further back as one or two drivers possibly don't get away. I think Max Windhauser 66 might have been slow away there. There's the 88 car of Mark Betts as they turn their way through Copse Corner and down to Maggots and Beckett's. For the first time, it's Paul Butcher from the outside, or the inside of the front row, second on the grid, that has gone through to take the lead there as they head through Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. I think it's Adam Walker that slotted into second place, and Dan Clues, last year's champion, the number one car, is in third place as they head up the Wellington straight, Matt, for the first time.
Yeah, they start to fan out as they head down towards the left-hander for the first time. Very close for second place as Paul Butcher has almost stolen march as they come round to complete lap number one. But as we said, watch out for those quick drivers working their way through the field. It's going to be side by side up towards the line for second place. And I fear Adam Walker's going to lose out here because Paul Butcher comes through as the leader. Second, third, fourth, fifth, four wide across the line, Ian.
Absolutely stunning stuff, and I think it was Lee Morgan 56 that was going around the outside of everybody, and he has made it into second place by the time he gets to Copse Corner from 8th on the grid within just over a lap. That's a remarkable effort. One for the pits is 66, Max Windhauser from row 6 of the grid, but here are the leaders. Paul Butcher has Lee Morgan right behind him now. Matthew Booth has come through to 3rd, Dan Clues 4th, Rob Wellham is 5th, the pole position man. Adam Walker has gone back to 6th place already.
Yeah, certainly has, but now Lee Morgan is going to bring himself alongside the race leader, which was Paul Butcher. I don't think he's quite going to get the job done there as they work their way in towards the left-hander at Brooklands, but Lee Morgan already from 8th on the grid up towards second place, and now surely with the speed through the final corner he's going to try and get alongside Paul Butcher. He's quicker, he's alongside, he's going to try and get to the lead of the race, which he does as he comes through, and Lee Morgan in the space of 2 laps goes from 8th to 1st.
Well, that is absolutely sensational stuff from Lee Morgan. It's the kind of thing we know he's capable of. I think he's now on 37 wins in F1000 after his win yesterday, and he's looking to make it 38 here. So Paul Butcher second, Matthew Booth third, Rob Wellham has moved up to fourth. Last year's champion Dan Clues not having such a strong start this season. He is back in 5th. He finished in 6th place yesterday. So along the Wellington straight they go, and already Matt, Lee Morgan starting to pull out a bit of a gap.
Yes, certainly is. As for second place, we're going to have another change as well, because Matthew Booth, who received those 15-second penalties yesterday, now goes into second place. And that is a good move from Matt, because he doesn't want to see the race leader Lee Morgan get away, because if he does, that's going to be a harder charge to try and close down. But now they come through, another lap completed, and further back we're going to have almost side-by-side action there between Dan Gore and Elliot Mitchell. That's the fight over 6th place.
Yeah, Rob Wellham, though, the man in 4th place, has got a 10-second penalty, and I think that's going to be for jumping the start, because, or being an out-of-position start, as we call it. So Rob Wellham, a 10-second penalty. That means he has got a lot of work to do. We can just see the number 5 car going through shot at Beckett's there. New livery for Rob this season, reflective of his sponsors. So as they head up the Wellington straight this time, it's Morgan whose lead at the end of lap 1 was just under a second from Booth. Then it's Paul Butcher, and trying to find a way past Butcher is that young man with the 10-second penalty, young Rob Wellham.
Yeah, and Rob really needs to get past Paul Butcher to try and then extend that gap to over 10 seconds to remain on the podium. So Rob Wellham's going to try and get on with the job now as he tries to get to the inside of Woodcote along towards the start-finish line. He's going to look either side of Paul Butcher on the run down towards Copse Corner. Can he get the job done? Yes, he can. So Rob goes through. That's good news for him. But Paul Butcher, at the start of this race, hasn't really held on, has he, to the top 3? And I think he's one of those who's one of the unluckiest men in F1000s, because he's yet to win a championship. But he's given it a good go over the years.
Couple of second places in the championship he's had. We've got a new lap record. So Elliot Mitchell's mark has lasted all of about 20 hours, because Lee Morgan has done 54.97. He's gone 100th of a second faster already. So we're nudging up towards 105 mile an hour average speed around this Silverstone National Circuit then. There is number 14. That's the driver that was in pole position, Adam Walker. He is battling with Dan Clues, and he's got back ahead of Dan Clues actually. For 7th place at the moment. Just in behind them, you've got the 22 car of Dean Warren, I think it is, We've had nearly 5 minutes of this race so far. 5 laps have been completed. Morgan's gone quicker still now. He's gone 2/10 faster, 54.75 seconds, well over 105 miles an hour that'll be.
Wow, that is quick. So 1.8 seconds now is the gap between first and second. Lee Morgan still leading Matthew Booth. Then third place is Rob Wellham with that 10-second penalty, and he was slightly wide there as well, coming through the Beckett's corner. So he's got to be careful not to put more than 2 wheels or 4 wheels over that white line, because that could be troublesome as well, as Paul Butcher tries to fight back down towards the left-hander, but not quite enough room to get through there. So they stay as they are, but this bunch is now getting closer and closer.
Yeah, Dan Gore took 0.6 of a second out of Paul Butcher on the previous lap. He's taking yesterday's lap record setter, Elliot Mitchell, number 11, with him as well. So that is now really a 4-car fight for third position. Obviously, that's third position on the road. Rob Wellham not really a part of that because of this 10-second penalty that he's got. There is the 60 car of Jack Tomerlin, so he's moved up into 10th position. He started the race in 11th, so he's not made too much progress, but hopefully he's not got the power fading away as it did during the course of yesterday's race with this different engine that he will have in today. And here the cars, their slick tyres rippling over the curbs there at Maggots before they turn into Beckett's, going very wide there. That was certainly 4 wheels off. That was number 33, Rob Bailey, who runs in 13th position. These cars then, Matt, heading up the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands once more.
Yep, this is the second group of cars we've got. So this is the likes of Edward Falkenham further back with Robert Bailey, Mark Betts and Nikita Abramov as well. So that's a great fight. There's some more great fights going on towards the front as well, because the gaps in this field are very, very close. Just shows how quick and fast-paced these laps are, as we've seen with the quickest lap coming from Lee Morgan. His gap out front hasn't changed too much. The gap is now 1.8 seconds, so fractionally down between the top 2. And then Rob Wellham is third, but he's not pulling away, is he? Because Elliot Mitchell is still with him, and is Paul Butcher, and is Dan Gore.
I just caught sight there of the number 69 car of Ed Falkingham. He's just gone through shot at great speed. He is up into 12th position now. He was forced to start this race from the back of the grid as well, so that's good progress from Ed Falkingham. He raced Clio's before he switched over into F1000s a couple of years ago now. We'll see if he can break up into the top 10 as the cars spread out. That's Rob Bailey under pressure there from, I think that was Nikita Abramov in the TSR car with its engine having been fixed after yesterday's race. We're now pretty much at the halfway mark of this race. 8 laps completed. I think we'll just manage to squeak 17 laps out of it again. Up front, the lead's pretty static between Morgan and Booth. Elliot Mitchell trying to close on them, but he's about 2.5 seconds behind now. This is the battle, though, for 12th, headed by Ed Falkingham. We go a bit further up the field now. We can see Paul Butcher in there, and he is now behind Dan Gore. So Dan Gore, already on this 9th lap, has got through into 5th position.
Yeah, and Elliot Mitchell is just starting to pick up the pace as well, because last time through he was pretty much a second quicker than Rob Wellham, so he's extended that gap over Rob. Paul Butcher is also there or thereabouts in 5th place, and also not too far back is going to be Dan Gore, who turns his way through on towards the main straight once again. So some really, really good fights so far. There's kind of 2 eyes or 2 pairs of eyes needed in this one, because there's lots happening at the minute, including this long line of cars as well, which is about to make its way up towards the line, which still includes Ed Falkenham, Rob Bailey there, the yellow car number 33, and then behind that, almost side by side between Nikita Abramov and Mark Betts, tries to get through but doesn't quite make it on this occasion.
So these F1000 cars, if you're seeing them for the first time, if your ears are working, you'll have detected that they use 1000cc motorcycle engines. All of the chassis built by a Northamptonshire company, which is Jedi Racing Cars, as Rob Bailey goes wide, and I think he'll lose a position to Nikita Abramov there because of that. So Abramov will go up into 13th position. He did some rally cross-country rally, I should say, and rallying in Russia before his did some rallycross in the UK and then racing in this country. And Abramov there trying to go up the inside of Bailey to finally get that move done. It was a good fight back from Bailey out of Beckett's and down the Wellington Straight, but Abramov now has made that move stick in the TSR car, so he does indeed go up into 13th position. Falkingham a bit further up the road now. Bailey tries to go back through on the inside. I think hits a patch of cement dust there as he crossed the start line. And Bailey, number 33, has got back through, Matt. So really good dice between these. I was going to say 2 cars, but actually there's 3 or 4 of them involved.
There's more and more coming, isn't there, as they head their way down towards Maggots. We'll wait for them to appear. There they go, side by side, and it's a number 55 car which is going to get through there. So Nikita Abramov goes through. Number 33 tries to do the switchback, but doesn't quite get the run. And further back from them, 2 cars side by side, which is Mark Betts and Billy Stiles. So fantastic racing. All of this 4 positions outside the top 10, as fighting back is Robert Bailey on Nikita Abramov. So they're not lying down in this one. They really are putting up a great fight for these places, as we said, for 13th on backwards. But this is fantastic racing from F1000. Something else I was very quickly just going to pick up on is Dan Clues, who is not really having the start of the season he wanted, is he? Because yesterday he finished in 6th place. At the minute he's down in 8th place, so not too sure if there's some problems with the reigning champion, but this is not quite what we're used to seeing from Dan.
No, had a very strong season last year, got 3 wins out of the 8 races that we had last year. Lee Morgan had 3, Rob Wellham had 2 last season. Up front, by the way, as we're watching this battle between Bailey and Abramov, the gap down to 1.3 seconds because Matthew Booth just did his personal best lap of the race, 54.84, so he is going after Lee Morgan, but he's probably only got, well, now 5 laps to go as they cross the line again. Another couple of attempts taken out of him that time, but we're watching this battle, which Mark Betts is now trying to buy into as well. Bailey in the yellow car, Abramov in the grey and orange TSR car. It's the Mark Betts, number 88, the Tim Gray Motorsport Rome car, just behind as well. 3.5 minutes to go. I'm sure these drivers really enjoy themselves. I think they want someone to hide the checkered flag, and I think I wouldn't mind if that happened as well. Exactly,
and we've got another race to look forward to later on as well. So it's a triple header this weekend at Silverstone. Slightly wide again there from the number 33 car. In fact, I think that was Nikita Abramov. Let's have a look as they come through. That was Robert Bailey, wasn't it? So he's really locking up now down towards this right-hander. So again, is he going to be running wide? Yes, he is. So 4 wheels again over that white line. I'm sure the clerks, of course, will probably have something to say about that, but he's definitely pushing hard, but maybe now, just pushing these tyres a little bit too hard as he starts to drop himself down the order.
I'll just have a look to my left to the finish line where the warning flags and penalty boards are shown, to see if there's anything being prepared for anybody, but doesn't seem to be just yet. There's the 1 car going through, Dan Clues you mentioned. Here's Jack Toblin, number 60 now, and he's got the Indian driver, number 30, Alok Iyengar, just behind him. And Alok did a bit of racing in India before he came to race more regularly in F1000 in the UK. But there's Clues at the moment, number 1, with 22, Dean Warren behind him. Driver that's also raced in Monoposto in the past. Now, Wellham and Butcher, they're now disputing 5th and 6th positions on the road, with Gore having got past both of them, of course, and Wellham, of course, with this 10-second penalty, hasn't been able to shake off the much more experienced Paul Butcher, Matt.
No, not at all. So Paul is still with him. They're going to go through with just under 2 minutes left on the clock. And looking at where Rob Wellham is, this 10-second penalty is going to drop him down to outside the top 10. So this is not going to be a good result for Rob, unfortunately, who runs there just behind Dan Gore and, as you said, just ahead of Paul Butcher. But quick stuff out front. Lee Morgan still leading, but look at that gap. It is now less than a second as we head towards the end of the race.
Yep, a good scrap this then between Wellham and Butcher, but up front, Matthew Booth making a really good chase of Lee Morgan. We'll perhaps pick that up in a moment as we come into the final knock-ins of this race. Butcher tried to get alongside Wellham into Brooklands there, but all of that came to nothing. The leader's going past my commentary box window, and they will have 2 laps to go now, so it will be a 17-lap race, the gap down to 0.8 of a second. And there is Matthew Booth. He was the Sports Specials champion in 2016, and then in 2019, his first season in F1000, he won the title, and he's the 2nd driver to win the title on his first year in F1000. And it is difficult to do because they're quite idiosyncratic cars, quite different. Now, although Matt Booth has had a good few laps, I can't help but feel he's just actually fallen a little bit further behind Lee Morgan again, Matt.
Yeah, the gap did come down, didn't it, last time through, but he looks a little bit further back, but then Lee Morgan was a little bit wide in towards the left-hander there at Brooklands, and he's again wide in towards Luffield. So is the gap going to come down further? We're going to get the end of this one and one more. So 20 seconds as they go through. Let's see if Matthew Booth has made any more inroads into Lee Morgan as they come through. Wait for the lap times to come up to see what they have both achieved, but it's going to be kind of last chance saloon now for Matthew Booth as they head on to the last lap with just under 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, gap's actually come down to the smallest it's been throughout the race, but the time ticks down to 0. So we should now be on to the final lap. Booth, possibly I would suggest just a little bit too far back from Lee Morgan to be able to do anything. Lee Morgan, as we've said, 37 wins so far in his F1000 career. He knows how to win, he knows how to defend, certainly. He's not the kind that's going to be easily pressured into a mistake. Down into Brooklands for the final time. They come then, this left-hander before the very tight, effectively double right-hander at Luffield. And then it's gradually on to the gas, flat out through the right-hander at Woodcote Corner. No chance here for Matthew Booth. Up to the line they come, and the checkered flag goes out. It is Lee Morgan that takes the victory. And he does.
Good morning, thank you very much, Ian. Yes, our first race of the day, the F1000s, and it's another race win. Lee Morgan, your 38th win altogether for F1000. So yeah. There we go, a great result for you, and a great race that was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really make a great start, to be fair. I mean, I think I'd literally stayed 8th all the way through the first part of the lap. Saw there was a lot of jostling position going on down into turn 2, so I tried to set myself up for the best run possible down the back straight, because I knew it was just going to be literally a case of four cars wide down there because it was so tight. I think I picked a good line, managed to make a couple of positions, and I managed to sort of position myself really well in the last turn. And I just came off there with such a good run. I got to off like 3 people and just came around the outside of everyone. Just had to make it stick into turn 1. I think the most important thing on lap 1 was really clearing Matt Booth and Elliott, because I knew they were going to be quick again. And when I saw myself in front of him, I thought, I've just got to get my head down now. And he didn't make it easy again, did he? He was literally, I was giving it everything I had, and he was coming a little bit. I knew I'd sort of set the car up to maybe a bit quicker at the start. But yeah, he kept me honest all the way through, and I think another lap and he was just edging that bit closer every time. So I'm glad that 15 minutes was up.
I suspect you are, yeah. So he was within 0.6 of a second behind you at the end of that race. So yeah, very closing in. It was lucky that the race did finish when it finished. So yeah, very lucky from that point of view for you. But of course, starting from 8th to 1st as well, it was an amazing start. You say it was quite a slow start, but within 2 laps you were in the lead and setting a new lap record as well with a 54.75. So a great race.
Yeah, super happy. Yeah, like I said, I knew sort of early on it was going to be important to get my head down. We set the car up to go fast early on and just hope we could get somewhere near the front. And to be fair, I would have been happy if I could have been in the top 3. The fact that I came around at the end of lap 1, sort of just taking second, and I did actually pass Paul down here. That he came back past me, which I thought was a good move, and then I managed to get a good slipstream on it down here. Then yeah, like I say, Matt came through and it was just head down and race 1 all over again.
Well, excellent stuff. Again, fantastic race, and we'll see you for race 2 a little bit later on today. Excellent stuff. Great result then, again, from our race winner there, Lee Morgan, for the F1000s. It's time now for the Mazda 7s.